On today's Locked On Thunder podcast, what's the definitive power rankings heading into this season? Who's going to threaten the Thunder at the top? Who's going to be the lonesome teams at the bottom? It's our NBA power rankings and why the Thunder should be everybody's number one coming up.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. I am your host, media member and beat writer for Thunder on SI, Rylan Stiles. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. This is Locked On Thunder, your teams every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen, subscribing to the show. Go check out Locked On NBA for the national aspect of things. On today's show, we're diving into the power rankings of the NBA 1 through 30. The Thunder should be everybody's number one team, but who's threatening them around that top spot and who projects to be some of the worst teams in basketball, with everything in between, with Brendan Rahbar, dailythunder.com, 1077 The Franchise, OKC Dream Team. You can find both of us over there. Brandon, how you doing today?
Doing well. We are in the summer of being back. Or in the month. I'm sorry. We're in the month of being back. We are officially in September, which means we've got training camp, a media day later this month, Rylan. Like, I can't believe this. Like, this summer was kind of like non-existent, but I'm excited to get this season going, honestly.
You know, I have gotten into a TikTok rabbit hole, and that's never a good thing. These TikTok rabbit holes will get you for a few hours. But one of the most recent ones has been the weather, and big weather has been telling me what the Atlas say. They've been telling me what the farmers reports are. And I've been skeptical that we're in this midst of a false fall where it's going to be nice weather and then jump back up to what we're used to, 100-degree type of days. The big weather tells me this is real. Like, we're really in fall. Football's really happening. The weather's not going to turn bad again. It's just going to be this nice actual fall season, and Thunder basketball returns September 29th with media day. Once media day gets here, everything's back. I mean, you have training camp every day after that, and then you have the preseason, which, unlike other sports like basketball's preseason, is basically just an extension of the regular season. Like, yeah, Shai and them won't play a ton, but there's only 18 guys. You can carry 21, but the guys on the court matter in the NBA preseason. So you're truly back at that point. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're past Labor Day. We're back 5 days a week, and what a way to start it out with Brendan Rahbar power ranking the NBA. Brandon, my number one, I assume, is your number one, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who did not make any splash moves this summer, but man, they retain their entire roster, sans Dillon Jones. They have an open two-way spot. We'll see who fills that third spot. Doesn't really matter. Overall, this team has a 99% retention rate from a season ago in which they won a championship, in which they have a young core still. And I know that people are sick of hearing about how young the Thunder are, but it's true. Like, you expect Chet, J-Dub, this entire roster to continue to get better, and that internal development is worth banking on, and they're the best team in basketball. They're the most deepest team in basketball, the most talented team in basketball, and despite not having the new car smell that some of these other teams have, they also have that illusion of and that optimism of progression this year, even though it's not in the form of new names.
This was the only no-brainer on the entire list. So this was the easiest one to, like, 2 through 29, 30. There was like debates on each one of these. Number one was easy. It's the Thunder. They're the reigning champs. And like you said, they kept everybody. The only one they lost was Dillon Jones. He wasn't really in the rotation, minutes here and there, of course. And you're basically replacing him with Thomas Sorber. You get A.J. Mitchell back healthy. You get Nikola Topic into this rotation. And the biggest thing, like you said, all these guys, for the most part, are going to get better because they're young. Shai's just now entering his prime. J-Dub and Chet are still not even in their pre-prime, really. So this team is going to get better. Easy number one, OKC.
Yeah, I mean, this is just – it should be everybody's number one heading into the season, and I imagine they're going to hold that top spot the entire length of the regular season as people update their power rankings. There's just not a ton of reason to have them decline if they do what they're expected to do, and that's win a ton of games and be the deepest, most talented team in the league. So number one, what we're going to do is we each have our own lists. We're going to come together at each spot and try to agree on a team in every single slot. That way you have our combined list at the end to see where we rank these teams. So Brandon, number 2 was very tough for me because I have a love affair with 2 teams at this spot, one in each conference, and I couldn't really tell who to put where. So I'm going to defer to you. Who did you put at number 2?
See, I had a debate as well between 2 teams, but they were from the same conference.
Oh,
Yeah. Spoiler alert, my top 3 teams are all from the West.
okay.
I ended up going number 2, the Nuggets. The other team that we'll get to, I feel like may end up having a better regular season record than the Nuggets. But once the playoffs happen and once it gets down to it, like if I'm looking at like contenders and threats and things like that, I think the Nuggets are the second biggest threat to win the title, the second best team. They have Jokic. You've got the 2 best players, I think, in Shai and Jokic on these 2 teams. And they took care of the biggest problem that they had, which was depth. They went out and got, Valanciunas and Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway Jr. Like they flipped Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson. 7 games with the Thunder. They improved their depth. They should be a bit better. I've got the Nuggets at number 2.
You broke the tie for me. I'm going to just go ahead and put the Denver Nuggets in my number 2 as well. Because you guys know by now, if you listen to the show for the entire season and the off season, I love Denver. I love the Nuggets. And I think that they've improved dramatically. And the way that I view power rankings is we're not trying to predict or regurgitate the standings. I mean, like there's a standings for a reason. This is who we think are the best teams, regardless of how seriously they take the regular season or not, regardless of any of the external factors of maybe they lose a stretch of the season due to injury and that tanks their record. That doesn't magically to me mean that they're a worse team than the team that ends up winning more regular season games. So you're saying who the better teams are. To me, Denver's ahead of Houston is in terms of a team, regardless of what happens in the regular season win total. And so Denver is above Houston, but I have Denver at 2. The way that they've flushed out their depth, the way that they've made that move for Cam Johnson, and I think that is an upgrade to Michael Porter Jr., and we'll see if I end up being right on that. But I've been firm in that being a true upgrade and not just a kind of an indifference move, but that some people have viewed it. So I love Denver. I love Jokic. I'm going to have them at 2 as well. My number 3, though, is going to be my actual number 2. I'm going to put the Cleveland Cavaliers on the table. And I know that you've already put Houston on the table, but again, I know that they're going to deal with injuries in the regular season, especially to start the year. So their regular season record, I think, still should be very good playing in the Eastern Conference once they do get healthy. But when you factor in the power rankings as well as who can win a championship, Cleveland is in the East. They have a weaker competition to deal with than anyone in the West does in the postseason, because at least a couple of your rounds are going to be just nothing burgers. It'll be like, OU playing Illinois State a couple of those rounds in the Eastern Conference playoffs. And this is a team that has Evan Mobley and Jared Allen and Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. I love the Lonzo Ball move. Now, Lonzo Ball, I love the move on paper, but this game's not played on paper. It's played on the court, which Lonzo's failed to be on the court a whole lot. But Max Strus, and I think that Dean Wade's awesome. I really believe in Jalen Tyson a lot. I hope that we get to see him some more this season. So I'm going to put Cleveland at 3. Would you be willing to bump Houston, or are you going to fight for the Rockets to be at 3?
No, I have the Rockets at 3, but I do have the Cavs at 4. So since we went with my Nuggets at 2, and so I feel like it's your turn to win this battle. But I truly do think the Rockets are a better team. Now, that said, I think you make a very good point that the Cavs are in the East. There's basically 2 teams at the top of the East right now that look clearly better than the rest of the teams, with Jason Tatum out, with Tyrese Halliburton out. And so competition-wise and seeding-wise and path to the finals-wise, I think the Cavs clearly have a better path and an easier path than the Rockets do. But the Rockets, that defense, that youth, their depth, and then adding KD, basically flipping Jalen Green, who was so inconsistent, boom or bust, up or down, fairly inefficient for a volume scorer. For KD, one of the greatest, most efficient scorers of all time. obviously a big upgrade. And now they are a true contender, I think, and a threat in the West. Whereas last year, I think they were kind of a pretender, even though they're the number 2 seed. I don't think anybody really took them seriously because of their youth, because they didn't have a go-to scorer. So I think the Rockets are the 3rd best team on paper, but I do have the Cavs 4th, and it was very close for me. So yeah, I will concede the Cavs 3 if you agree to the Rockets 4.
I already had the Rockets in the 4 position, so I'm going to have to agree with you there at Rockets 4. So our definitive top 4, OKC, Denver, Cleveland, Houston. We'll explain more and round out the top 10 coming up. First, I want to say right now, but your friends over at FanDuel, go check out FanDuel today because the NFL season is almost here. It's a few hours away from your Dallas Cowboys kicking off, Brandon. And with FanDuel, they make sure that you're ready for kickoff with these can't-miss offers. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. If your $5 bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets across the app to use it on with FanDuel. Make sure you're ready for the play by downloading the FanDuel app or by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your $5 bet. And if it wins, you get $300 in bonus bets. If you only care about the NBA, you can already bet on the Thunder opening night against those Rockets. Thunder favored by 6.5. But your Dallas Cowboys opening night of the NFL season, they are 8.5-point underdogs to the Philadelphia 76ers. Can they spoil banner night in the city of brotherly love? Go check it out today at FanDuel.com. We're back on the Lockdown Thunder podcast on the Lockdown Podcast Network, your teams every day. Back with Brendan Rahbar, back with our power rankings, our top 4, OKC, Denver, Cleveland, Houston. I agree with you that Houston should be up here. They were in my natural 4 spot. I'm glad that we got the flip-flop in Cleveland to the top 3 the way that I wanted, and we both had it, Denver and the Thunder already there. But Houston, I mean, this was a dreadful offense a year ago, and they got one of the best scorers of all time in Kevin Durant. And the efficiency is a good shout compared to Jalen Green, who is kind of a scorer in name only. He has not been able to produce at the level that I thought he'd be able to. Hand up, I was wrong. You can go back and listen to our draft profile on Jalen Green. I thought he'd win 2 scoring titles in this league. It's not on pace to happen as of this moment. But watch out for those Suns. Perhaps with a change of scenery, he can do it. But what Kevin Durant can open up for Şengün, what he can open up for the rest of that team, and now having Fred VanVleet in this role too of, I think that there's another step to take for Şengün next to Kevin Durant as an offensive weapon. And now you're looking at Fred VanVleet as like the 3rd scoring option who's capable of having big games, to where I just believe that they're going to be a massive step forward this year. They're going to be actual contenders. So that's why I have them in my top 4, and that's why they come in at 4 on our combined list, 3 on yours. Number 5, who was it for you, Brandon?
For me, it's the Knicks. I've got the Knicks again in the East, easier path to the NBA Finals. It feels like it should be the Knicks and the Cavs kind of on a collision course. You never know what's going to happen. Injuries or, some surprises may happen in the East, but it feels like the Knicks are right there. I was very close, I'll be honest, to making 4 of the top 5 teams from the West. That's how close I feel like the Knicks and my number 6 team are. But the Knicks do have a great starting lineup. I'm a little bit worried about their depth, but they've got a good combination of scoring and defense. And I really do like that starting 5. And once you get to the play, I think they'll coast through the regular season. And then once you get to the playoffs, those guys are going to play so many minutes, their depth may not matter too much.
Yeah, I had the Knicks as well at 5, and I just think that the coaching change is interesting. But when you have that good of a starting lineup, and you have a coach now who I hope will be more willing to explore what is on that Knicks bench and see what you can get away with, I think that can make them better as well. So I do have New York at 5. Number 6 for me, I don't know if we're going to have a debate here or if we're going to align. I have the LA Clippers. I think that this was a really good offseason for the Clippers. You already have Kawhi, you have James Harden, but getting John Collins in that move, Bradley Beal is a guy that I think can change his public perception. I think he's being asked to do a lot in LA because of the production that Norman Powell gave you. Like without Norman Powell's all-star production, and he should have been an all-star had LeBron actually backed out of the game 2 hours before tip-off. Getting that production is the reason why the Clippers were able to stay afloat whenever Kawhi barely played last year. So that's still a role that he's going to have to fill. But when you get his production he gave to Phoenix last year, but on a $5 million price tag, it is a lot different. It feels a lot different than what he was dealing with a year ago. So you get Bradley Beal, you get John Collins to really help out that front court. Zoo is a great player. I think that Derrick Jones Jr. is a really good role player. You saw that firsthand. They also added Brook Lopez and Nick Batum still kicking around. They have Chris Paul as well, who played all 82 games last year. I think that this team is sneaky deep. It is old, but it's got to come together for them this season. And in the midst of these power rankings, I just find myself liking the Clippers and talking myself into the Clippers.
I have the Clippers at 6 as well. They were the team that I was considering at 5 for all the reasons that you said. I think they surprised everybody last year with how well they played, because people thought that Kawhi was going to miss a majority of the season, and he did miss a lot of the season. But when he came back, he looked really good. And, they have such a high floor anyways because they are deep and because they do have James Harden and Zoo, and now adding Bradley Beal and Chris Paul and Brook Lopez. Yes, they're old. There is, that unknown factor of could they just fall off? I don't think they're all just going to turn old and can't play overnight. These guys can still play. We saw it last year. Could they fall off a little bit? Maybe, but they're very deep, very talented. And we saw them take on a Kawhi injury last year, and we're still a really, really good team. So if Kawhi is somewhat healthy this year, if he plays, 2/3 of the games, I think we're looking at a top 4 team in the West.
I agree. We're in synergy here, and now we move into number 7. Is it still in the Western Conference, or have you moved out east?
I'm still in the West.
Me too.
I'm actually in the same town. This is probably a surprise. I know that they flamed out in the playoffs last year. I know they have issues, but I have the Lakers at 7. Maybe I bought in too much to the Luka getting in shape in the offseason, but the motivated chip on his shoulder Luka plus LeBron still. And then here's my thing. They added DeAndre Ayton. Is Ayton a great player? No. But is he a lot better than what they were trotting out at center last year? Yes. And I think that can make a big difference. He doesn't have to be a great center. If he's an average center for them, which I think he could be, between him and then, of course, Austin Reeves, I don't know. I feel like there's too much talent for them not to be one of the top 6 seeds in the West and to get a for sure playoff seed.
I like this prediction from you. I like this idea from you. I also had a Western Conference team in my spot right here, but I had the Minnesota Timberwolves in the 7 spot. However, I did have the Lakers at 9. So 7 and 9 is not a big disparity because I've also been aboard the train of I know that DeAndre Ayton is a punching bag, and everywhere that he leaves, they end up having these hit pieces on him for good reason. I'm not saying that they're unjust, but if there's ever a player to maximize DeAndre Ayton, if there's ever a team and an environment and a situation to maximize DeAndre Ayton, it's right now because it's now or never for Ayton, and you have a player made in a lab to tailor to your skill set with Luka Doncic playing alongside you. So for those reasons, and because I was impressed with JJ Redick last year, and I think that this team has more optionality than they did a year ago. I think that the Jake LaRavia move was a sneaky good one. I'm kind of in on Marcus Smart. I kind of think that he'll have his best 3-point shooting season of his career this year next to Luka with what he can generate. I'm just gonna concede Lakers at 7. Ooh. And we win again with Brandon. It's 7 for the Lakers, and we're going to round out our top 10. How far will Minnesota fall now after being a top 7 team coming in to this list for me? How far will they tumble? All coming up. We're back on the Lockdown Thunder podcast, on the Lockdown Podcast Network, your teams every day. Here talking with Brandon Rahbar. We're out here power ranking the NBA 1 through 30. Brandon, I had the Lakers at 9. You just had me catapult them to 7. At 8, I'm going to offer up again Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota has a team that I think, is underrated after they lost Nikola-Alexander Walker. I'll admit, when that first notification hit that they actually did lose him, there was that sticker shock of wow, that's a tough blow to them. But when I actually sat down and I did our NBA Top 100, so it's coming out next week, on Monday our Locked On Top 100. So every host had to fill out their top 100 players list. Minnesota had 5 top 100 players for me. Like, that's really impressive considering that, like, it is among the most in the league. It's tied with a few teams for the most in the league, second most in the league behind the Thunder with 7. But Minnesota here at 8 feels right. I think that they can replace that production from Gilgeous-Alexander Walker with the likes of Jalen Clark, with the likes of Terrence Shannon. Whenever you have Naz Reid and Anthony Edwards and you have Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert, I got Minnesota at 8. Can we get Minnesota to 8, or do they continue to slide?
Well, they were my number 9. So yeah.
Who was sandwiched in between those two teams?
The Warriors. I had the Warriors.
Oh, wow, the Warriors.
I know. I am going heavy on the West here, man.
No, that's crazy. I think I should win the Timberwolves. In fact, I'm writing it down right now. I should win the Timberwolves at 8. The Warriors?
No, I am conceding the Wolves because it was a debate for me. Really, 7, 8, and 9 were very, very close for me. All the reasons that you said, the Wolves. Okay, should I defend the Warriors? I don't even like saying that, honestly. I don't even like those words coming out of my mouth.
The Warriors are 14 for me.
Okay. Are they 14? Wow. That may be our biggest discrepancy. Okay. Look, I do not want to defend the Warriors by any means whatsoever, but I will at least say this. When they had Jimmy Butler, after they made that trade, when Curry, Butler, and Draymond played together, they were really good. And they did take out the number 2 seed Rockets. And had Curry not gotten hurt, we don't know what would have happened in that second round.
That's the Justin Herbert debate.
Say what?
It's the Justin Herbert debate.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. So, look, I don't want to defend the Warriors, but I do think that, and look, they didn't get any better this. They have been like hamstrung by the Jonathan Kuminga situation. They did not improve at all. I guess we're just going to wait till like January to find out what's happening with Jonathan Kuminga. I don't know what's ever going to happen. They're not going to make any moves. But between Curry, Butler, Draymond, and then the role players, the young guys like Pods and things like that, I don't know. Was that?
You're a big Quentin Post guy. I mean, you just love Quentin Post. Do you think he's going to be, Dirk? I mean,
maybe
9.
Maybe it's a not of 8. I had him at 8. Maybe it's not enough. Maybe it's not a big enough sample size, but they do have championship experience. I still believe Curry is like a top 10-ish player in the league. Yeah. And Butler, Draymond, the sample size is small, but they were very, very good when those 3 guys were on the court together last year.
Listen, you've hit me in the sample size. My team that was sandwiched in between them has 0 sample size together. So I have to kind of back off a little bit. But I had the Atlanta Hawks at 8.
Oh, wow.
And I had Golden State at 14. You're not buying into the Hawks offseason? I think this is the best roster you could possibly make around Trae Young.
I have the Hawks at 13.
So that's our disconnect. We just flip-flop these two teams. What don't you like about the Atlanta Hawks?
I do like the Atlanta Hawks. I do, and I like Trae Young, and I do agree. I guess it's the unproven quantity of it. And I will say this, I have them ranked as the 4th best team in the East. Yeah. So I have them as—
You're just a Western Conference homer. You're like the SEC fans that go around chanting SEC. Brandon every night goes to bed, and before he goes to bed, he says a few Hail Marys to the Western Conference greats of the past. And he's just Western Conference. This guy.
I do think, like, if you put the Warriors in the East, would it be crazy to think that they'd be the 3rd best team behind the Cavs and Knicks? Like, I would not be surprised if they were in the East, if they finished as the 3 seed above the Hawks and the Magic. That's just me. Yes, I am heavy on the West. I have the Hawks as number 4 in the East. I'm loaded with the West.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough thing here, because realistically, being unbiased, I do think that your arguments having a sample size. Yes, it's small, but it's greater than 0 sample size. And the argument of perhaps the low viewpoint of the Warriors stems from the fact that they're having to battle the West compared to if they had to battle the East. The pathway for them opens up greater, just like it does for Atlanta. Like the Atlanta pathway wouldn't be the same if you told me that they were in the Western Conference this season. So for those reasons, as much as I hate to do this, because I am not a Quentin Post fan, and I don't have his jersey the way that you do, I'm going to put the Warriors at 9. And you've once again have been a great used car salesman, and I'll back off because I will fight for some of these teams, but I have no counter to those 2 points, that you have a sample size and I don't, and that if we swapped conferences, you also swap paths.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Maybe I'm in the wrong business. Maybe I should get to used cars. I'd definitely make
you make a lot more money that way. I mean, you could just be pawning off 97 Corollas left and right with the way that you can sell things. But I mean, I hate to ask you your 10th team is, I'm sure it's from the Western Conference. I mean, you got the Utah Jazz at 10. Who's at 10?
Shockingly, I have an East team. I felt like I needed another East team in the top 10. I had the Orlando Magic at number 10.
You know what? This is the interesting part about doing a definitive power ranking. I would love to continue to fight for my Atlanta Hawks. Caw. My exact 10 is also the Orlando Magic.
Wow. Nice.
So like we were once again in sync. I'm going to be shocked if our list is only messed up and muddled up by the fact that I had the Warriors at 14 and you had the Hawks at 14 versus where we had the other team at 8 with each other. That's crazy to me, but I will just go ahead and say Magic at 10. I do think that the Desmond Bane move, like, yes, Desmond Bane was not good in Memphis whenever he was tasked with being the lone option whenever Ja had his issues. Like that might have exposed him a little bit in the postseason this year, obviously, where no one in Memphis had success against Oklahoma City offensively, except for Scottie Pippen Jr. But putting him in Orlando, he fits the culture. He fits the identity defensively. I think this will be one of the best defensive teams in the league. I think that his three-point shooting bump will get them out of the cellar of the NBA. And I think that it complements the scoring gravity and volume of Paolo and what Franz is able to do, to where I think that those three guys will end up meshing really well together. And I have them as a top 10 team. I also had Atlanta as a top 10 team. I won't fight for them right now, but I will fight for them in the future. But Orlando at 10 feels right. My number 11 was the Detroit Pistons, because I already had ranked the Hawks, but I'm putting the Hawks back on the table. Like, at this point,
yes. Who
else would be your number 11?
Okay, so I have the Hawks at 13. I agree we should move them up to 11. I will concede and give you that. Especially, you've been very generous, Rylan, with these rankings and the positioning. Now my number 11 almost comes with an asterisk. This team, if healthy, I think should be higher than 11. This team will not be healthy to start the season, and it's a significant factor.
Here they come? Philadelphia? On the road?
That's a good guess. That is a good guess. When this team is not healthy, they should be lower than number 11. So I kind of found a middle ground. I have the Dallas Mavericks at number 11.
Wow.
Now this is kind of like halfway Kyrie, like this is somewhere in between Kyrie being healthy and not being healthy. Because if Kyrie is healthy, Rylan, they've got Kyrie, Anthony Davis, Cooper Flagg, PJ Washington, Derek Lively. I mean, like, they are very deep. They're very big. They're going to cause some issues with teams with their size. I do think that on paper, obviously, the trade, Nico Harrison, the move, all that stuff, talking about the vision, all that stuff, throw all that out of the window. Just looking at the team, as far as like talent right now, not looking at the future or anything like that. Obviously, it's going to take Cooper Flagg. I don't think he's going to come in and be an all-star year one, but I do think it's going to be very good. If this team is healthy, I think that they're a problem in the West. They're not healthy right now, though.
Yeah. So I had Dallas at 19 only because of the non-health of Kyrie and the still kind of murkiness around when he's going to return. Let's compromise on this one again. And for me, I would have had the Mavericks higher if you could guarantee me there's no Kawhi funny business. he's going to return at the All-Star break. Like he's going to be back at the All-Star break. It's going to be fine. Everything's going to be hunky-dory with Dallas. I would agree with you. So for that reason, I'll put Dallas up there. I do believe that they're going to have one of the best defenses in the league. I do believe that Cooper Flagg is a generational talent, and I do believe that they're going to be able to win games and survive the non-Kyrie stint. So if we're going to operate under the assumption that Kyrie is going to be able to get it right in the rehab process and be able to be back around the All-Star break, I'll put Dallas high on this list for my standards to 12, and I'm going to get paid back on the back end, which you're going to see here in a second. So we're at 12, now 13. I'm going to appeal to you here because there's two teams that we still need to make up for because my 11 and 12 are still out there floating around. But I'm going to appeal to your sensibilities, your left side sensibilities, and I'm going to say the San Antonio Spurs.
That's who I had at number 12. I had Spurs at number 12. I had the Mavs at 11, the Spurs at 12, and that was a debate for me. I think that's great. I think Wemby takes a leap this year, becomes like a top 10 player. They've got Dylan Harper. They've got Castle. They've got De'Aaron Fox.
Carter Bryant's a dog.
Yes. So I think this is the year that they become, I don't know if they're a playoff team. I think they're certainly a play-in team, and they could be a playoff team. Absolutely.
So 14, I'm going to offer up my other team left out hanging around, the Detroit Pistons.
I have the Pistons at number 14.
Okay. We're back on track. On track.
Yes.
I fear that I'm going to end up messing up the track here with my 15 team. So I'm going to let you present your 15 first. Now that we've been caught up, we're at 15. Who is there for you?
The Boston Celtics. This is a very, very tough team to rank. Obviously not having Jason Tatum, obviously making the moves that they made this offseason because they realized that this was a lost season. But they still are a talented team, and they're still in the East.
Yep.
They went from they were a top 3 team to, what are they this season? And I don't know what they are, so I just put them right in the middle. I think they do still have enough talent to be a playoff team in the East, and to me, that's number 15 seemed about right. I have a glut. I have a glut of East teams right here that could all be flip-flopped.
Okay. So I had Boston at 16, so there's no point to drag on the show and debate this. I agree with you. If they want it, they have a team that still is talented enough and is well coached enough that if they want it in the East with how bad the Eastern Conference is, they can still be a top 15 team in this league. So I'm going to go ahead and bump them up one spot. Now that means I have 2 other Eastern Conference teams still floating out there that are now behind the curve at 16. I want to offer up the safer bet first. Can we just get Milwaukee out of the way? I mean, Giannis, and there's a lot of roster flaws. I hate their guard room. I don't like their depth, but they have Turner. They have Giannis. 16 is just kind of meh. They're kind of meh. You want to just put the Bucks here?
That's where I have the Bucks. I have the Bucks at number 16. That's exactly right. For all the reasons you stated. They still have Giannis.
Yeah.
And if you have Giannis, you have a shot to make the playoffs in the East. They do add Miles Turner. I mean, that's a nice move. And he fits pretty well with Giannis. The guard issues are a huge issue. But yeah, 16 feels right.
So 17 for me is actually one of your beloved Western Conference teams. But there's still a team floating out in the wilderness for me that I need to address. And it is a team near and dear to my heart. It is a team that if you've listened to the show as an everydayer, which I appreciate you already know this, especially if you've been with us since May 2020. My beloved Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, there's never been a season so far that has gone by where I have not projected them to be a top 3 team in the East. And I don't know that I'm going to start now, but you'll have to find out in a couple of weeks. But if they can get healthy, if you can get me Embiid and Paul George and Maxey and Jared McCain's back, and this team, Adam Bona, sneaky good player too. Is it too far to say the Sixers, or are you going to go with my actual West team at 17?
I have the 76ers at number 17.
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Not the same way that you also used to think of that phrase, but let's go to 17 with the 76ers. At 18 now. 18 is very interesting to me because I have 2 teams that are in a similar spot to me for very different reasons. I have the Grizzlies at 17, the Pacers at 18. But we need an 18 team now, so the Grizzlies are left kind of in limbo for me. The Grizzlies are just blah by design, like their roster construction. I'm not in love with Ja. I'm not in love with Jaren Jackson Jr. I don't think that they did enough to improve this roster. I think that their rookie draft class is fine. I think that Gigi Jackson is a fine player. I think that when you look at this team overall, though, they're just fine. And Indiana, I think, is so deeply talented with role players that they're now a fine team because they're missing Therese Halliburton. How they had Therese Halliburton and they also lost Turner, like that, of course, elevates them to what we saw a year ago. But when you strip those two parts away from that team, they're now a fine team. They're now in this top 20-ish, at the bottom half of the top 20. So I'll let you pick, unless you have a different answer, Grizzlies or Pacers for 18.
I have the Grizzlies at 18, and I have the Pacers at 20. So I have the Grizzlies a little bit ahead of the Pacers. I just think that the Tyrese Halliburton injury, it just puts this big question. And losing Miles Turner, yes, Desmond May was a big loss, but you still have Ja. You still have Jaren Jackson Jr. You still have some nice pieces. I think I can trust the Grizzlies a little bit more than the Pacers, the unknowns of the Pacers. I'm rooting for the Pacers, though. Like, I hope the Pacers make the playoffs if they want to. If they want to make the playoffs, I hope they make the playoffs. And I hope Tyrese comes back next season better than ever.
Yeah, I mean, they have an excellent coach who does care a lot about buses, but also is really good on the court, that I think they'll be able to, if they want to, be a top 6 team in the East. But I'll give you the Pacers back down to 20 and not shoehorn them into 19 if you'll elevate the Trailblazers to 19 for me.
Well, I have the Blazers at 21, and I was highly considering them anywhere in that range. So I'm very happily I'm pretty big on the Blazers as well. Like, it would not surprise me whatsoever to see them in the play-in. They play so hard. They've got so many fun young players. I like watching them play. Like, they are building something. The culture there, the way they fight, the way they don't give up. They remind you of the Thunder from a few years ago. They don't have that top-end talent like Shai. We don't know if they have a Dub or a Chet or anything like that, but they have some really fun young players, and they play great defense.
Who's that? Oh, did you hear any of that? Nope, not at all, huh? Listen, Portland, I love them. Who's at 21 for you? I think that Portland has that kind of blend of a young team, a talented team, good enough to surprise you. I love their roster there. But at this juncture here at 21, we've kind of caught up to my list. There's not really a bunch of stragglers. So who's at 21 for you?
So that's where I had the Blazers. I had the Heat was who I had slotted in at 19, though. The Heat was my team that was like, but I was agreeing. I'm very happily bumped the Blazers up into that spot. And I don't know where you have the Heat, but I had the Heat at 19 and the Blazers.
Yeah, I'm at 22, so I'll move them to 21.
Perfect.
And then I had at 21, regrettably so at this point. I think I should have put the Heat one spot above this team, but the Chicago Bulls, they do anything for you?
I have the Bulls at 24. Like,
okay,
we're getting into
I agree with you. Let's bump them way down. 22. I'm out on the Bulls. I just kind of threw them on there because it's like they're going to win some games, but this is a power ranking. Who cares how many games that they win?
If I do go into used car sales, Riley, I want you to be my first customer.
Oh, dude, you're going to bend me over the barrel and show me the 50 states. I mean, I'll be paying $150,000 for a 97 Corolla. I mean, let's put the Bulls way down the list. Let's put them below the Jazz. Who's at 22 for you?
I have the Sacramento Kings.
Okay, I'll go with that.
The Kings are just in a bad situation where I think if they were in the East, they would be like a competitive, play-in team. They're just in the West, and they were such a fun team a couple years ago. The future looks so bright. And of course, they had to trade away De'Aaron Fox, and they've done the best they can. I feel for their fans because their fans were so excited. That was such a fun season, and the future looks so bright. But just in the West is a different animal, man.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with the Bulls at 23 because I'm going to put the Kings at 22 for you. I'm going to elevate them. I agree with that sentiment. The reason why I'm going to force us to have the Bulls at 23, that's the last time that you can use that excuse of like, oh, if this poor, pitiful West team was in the Eastern Conference, they'd be so good. Because the next time you can use that is for the New Orleans Pelicans, who is like, yeah, but they also can't get out of their own way in the West. Like the Pelicans have not been downtrodden because of this rough and tumble, Western Conference. They can't keep their guys on the court, and whenever they're on the court, they don't perform well enough. So that's the last time we can use that excuse. So I'm going to put an East team at 23. Now we're at 24, which for me was the Pelicans. Who's at 24 for you?
Yeah, I had the Pelicans at 23.
Perfect.
At 23, so that's perfect. Assuming fair amount of health for Zion. I mean, there's still some talent on this Pelicans team. Also, it's kind of perfect. The Bulls are 23, by the way. Like that kind of makes sense. But yeah, I think the Pelicans. This feels right for them.
So you're into the Western Conference. You're into numerology. You're learning a lot about you. You could be a used car salesman. 25 through 30. I don't care. For me, I had the Raptors, Suns, Hornets, Wizards, Nets, Jazz. Is that similar to what you had?
So I had the Suns, Raptors, Hornets, Jazz, Nets, Wizards.
Last. This is our last debate of the show. We've already gone long, and I'm going to be, taken out back after a while after this show goes too long. Wizards, though, I love the Wizards. I think that core is really good, really talented. Why do you have the Jazz above them?
The Jazz still have Lawrence.
Let me guess. Oh, they play in the Western Conference. Oh, their games come on late. They're the poor Jazz have to play the Thunder 4 times. Is that why?
Look, Cody Williams is on that team, and I can't.
Cody Williams is on the Salt Lake City Stars. He's not on the Jazz.
No, they have Lauri Markkanen, who I think is the best player, and supposedly he's going to play this season. And they have Walker Kessler. As of this moment, they have Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler. I like what the Wizards are doing. I like what the Wizards are building. I think they're doing it the right way. They have a true direction, and they have some good, fun, young players, but they're still so young. I don't know if I can trust them to win a lot of games. I don't think they want to. Well,
CJ McCollum is there, Chris Middleton's there. Who has more sympathy points among Thunder fans, Cody Williams or Dylan Jones? Dylan Jones was on a championship team for the Thunder.
He would, and he will forever have.
But Dylan because Jones Cody Williams is the same DNA as J-Dub, he's above the Wizards.
I think so.
Wizards are. I love Trey Johnson. I love Alex Sarr. I love Bilal Coulibaly. I love Bub Carrington especially. He's my favorite player on that team. I think that AJ Johnson was a great find for them last year to kind of take advantage of Milwaukee, frankly. Keyshawn George is a great defender. They do as well have Dylan Jones. I'm not high on him, but Corey Kispert, pretty high on him. You know what? Again, I told you I don't care about the bottom 5. Well, you can just hear both of our rankings at the bottom 5 and kind of combine them how you will. But Brandon, this was a lot of fun. We have our definitive power rankings right now, which are the Thunder, Nuggets, Cavs, Rockets, Knicks, Clippers, Lakers, Timberwolves, Warriors, Magic, Hawks, Mavericks, Spurs, Pistons, Celtics, Bucks, 76ers, Grizzlies, Trailblazers, Pacers, Heat, Kings, Bulls, Pelicans, Raptors, Suns, Jazz, Hornets, Nets, Wizards. That's your power rankings here for Brandon Rahbar, Mr. Western Conference. I'm Rylan Stiles. Until next time, be good and be good to one another. You want to send us out with a little Western Conference? I mean, this guy. OU's been the SEC for a year and a half, and you're a conference guy all of a sudden. Until next time, be good and be good to one another.